Test. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
There
I'm
you
over
are.
here. Okay, so waves allow us to see the surrounding world.
It's the way our senses work.
Oh, sorry, to sense the surrounding world. I'm like to see, to hear. We'll focus on those today. The surrounding world. So sight and hearing depend on our ability to sense subtle differences in the frequencies of waves.
Yep. We'll spend the rest of the year talking about this.
Oh yeah. Okay, so sound, this is important. Sound is a longitudinal wave. And it's a series of compressions and rarefactions. Compressions are high pressure squeeze, and rarefactions are low pressure stretches.
We've got a sim that can show that.
We do. Oh wait, I need my mouse, sorry. Okay, so let's take a look at some squeezage, some compression, and some rarefaction. Okay, so let's focus right here. All right, so for this, we have this wall type thing, this surface moving back and forth, right? And the surface is compressing, it's squeezing and stretching our medium here. Okay, squeeze, stretch, squeeze, stretch. And what's happening to our, let's look at the red particle here. Now it's moving, it is moving, but is it traveling through the wave or is it staying in one general location?
And down below you can see it even better.
Oh, look at that, yeah. So it's just kind of oscillating back and forth.
It's the wave that travels,
And you
but
can
the
see
particles stay put.
okay, and because we have squeezage, some compression, and we have stretching, rarefaction, you can see that high density and low density kind of travels throughout the wave, that squeezing and stretching.
Yeah, that's traveling through space.
And if you kind of take a step back and you kind of it looks just like how when you have waves, the wave is literally traveling.
Yep.
It looks like it's traveling through, right? So that's what we see there, okay? So sound is longitudinal wave.
Where things get squeezed and stretched.
And just as a reminder, this is a longitudinal wave, right? We've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The wave moves in the same direction or the parallel with the direction that the wave is moving.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So sound is a longitudinal wave, a series of compressions and rarefactions, or squeezes and stretches. High pressure, low pressure. All different words for the same thing. Okay, our ears are sensitive to frequencies between 20 and 18,000 cycles per second.
Yeah, you can kind of demonstrate with frequency with the meter stick here.
Yeah, so we'll start here, right? Okay, so just go ahead and give it a listen. Right?
Wow.
So you can hear the difference between these guys. Right?
Yeah, you have to kind of move your hand to shorten it.
Okay. Oops. One more.
So I don't know if the camera will show it, but at the lower sound right here, it's moving slower.
Slower.
So it's not moving as fast, and then as it gets shorter, it moves faster and faster.
I wonder if you guys put it on slow motion, if you guys can see that. Okay. So so you can hear, your ears can pick up on the differences in those frequencies.
That's the range of frequencies that we can hear.
Okay, so we also have this tone generator. Oh wait, yeah, that's for this slide. Okay, we also have this tone generator. What sound should we play, Mr. Boykin?
100.
100. Okay, you guys ready? I guess I'll keep it.
Okay, now how about 500?
Okay. And?
See, that's a higher frequency. Let's do 1,000.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Let's do 12,000.
Okay. Oh. I don't know if it'll let me. Hold on. Wait, that was so weird. Hold on, give me a second.
You have to
One.
use yeah.
1200. Okay, there we go. Yeah, acting weird over there. And
It gets higher. And if you get up to, say, 5,000,
we just did. Oh yeah. Okay, 5. Oh, that's hard to listen
that's
to.
annoying.
Okay, so we could go. It says that ears are sensitive to frequencies between 20, which is really low, and 18,000, which is really
Yeah,
high.
20 is that bass frequency. If you ever heard really loud bass music, it makes your guts rattle.
I have.
Yeah.
And you get to a point, Mr. Morgan. What do you can't hear this high.
It's like dog whistle. You heard the term dog whistle?
Yeah, like they were really popular in school maybe like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And kids would play the dog whistle, and I couldn't hear it because I can't hear that frequency anymore.
Yeah.
But like high school students can hear it because they can still hear it, that frequency.
They haven't ruined their ears yet. That'll
Yeah.
come later.
Yeah, just give it time, okay? All right, so we hear differences in frequencies as pitch, how high or low a sound is. So a high pitch, a low pitch. Yes.
Low pitch.
Okay, so we have some tuning forks here. And go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and smack it on this thing, and then I'm gonna put it on the table so that the way the sound is a little bit louder for you guys.
Okay, here's another tuning fork. No. That's a different pitch, a different frequency.
Okay.
A lower pitch, a lower frequency.
Lower pitch, lower frequency, and
The lowest frequency. Now notice the difference in these is the length of the forks. The shorter length has less inertia, it vibrates faster. The longer length has more inertia, it vibrates slower. That produces a different frequency sound that we hear.
okay, let me go to my next slide here. I think I got a question for us. Okay. The speed of sound in air at 20 degrees Celsius is 343 meters per second. We know this.
You can think of that as a constant.
Yeah, it's just a constant, okay? So how long is the sound wave, the wavelength, produced by each tuning fork? Let's bring these over here. How about that? So we can go up on our board,
Good idea.
right? Okay, so Mr. Boykin, I'm gonna have you be my handy dandy helper
Each
here.
one of these has a frequency stamped on it.
Okay, let's start with that first one there. So what are we trying to find here again?
We want to find the
We
wavelength.
want to find the wavelength, right? And
Which equation are going to be, if we've got frequency, which equation are we going to use?
well, we've got frequency. We know the velocity in the air. We can use this one right here.
All right, so
right?
wavelength will be velocity divided by frequency.
Over frequency. Okay, so our velocity in sound is
343 meters per second.
okay.
And
what's-
this one is, we saw it a minute ago, where'd it go? 512 cycles per second.
okay. So let's plug this in. So 343 divided by 512, and I get we'll call it 0.7 meters.
That's 70 centimeters. On that
Okay.
meter stick,
That's
70
gonna be right
centimeters
here.
would be
From here to here.
cool.
Okay, and was that this one, Boykin, or was that this one?
That was the
That
512.
was that one. Cool.
Let's do this one. This is 320
That was the third one. Okay, so 320, you said?
cycles per second.
320 cycles per
It's a
second.
lower frequency,
Yeah, it is. This was a higher number, higher frequency.
so we should have a longer wavelength here.
So divided by like that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Alright, so 343 divided by 320, and I'm gonna call it 1.1.
So 1.1, that's the length of the meter stick plus 10 centimeters.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the wavelength of the sound.
So this, Mr. Boykin, this is really important. So you said, so here, I'm gonna say velocity over frequency.
Yeah.
So here we had a higher frequency, right? And we have a we'll call a smaller wavelength
Shorter
right
wavelength,
here.
yeah.
And now for here, we have a little bit lower of a frequency, so we have a bigger wavelength.
Yeah, and we can see that when we're playing with the slinkies as well.
Yes.
That's the inverse relationship. If I have a low frequency, that is a long wave. If I have a high frequency, that's a much shorter wave.
In
So it's
between
that-
each of those crests.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do we want to do one of them right?
Well, boys and girls, here is 384. You do this one on your own.
so there's 384 cycles per second.
And then
That was the second one.
256 cycles per second.
256 cycles per second. And
It's
think
the
about
same
it.
equation. Just
Yeah.
go ahead and knock these out.
Change that number. Okay, you guys got that. I'm gonna set you free on that. Okay. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. So finish up those, calculating the wavelength for those tuning forks. And then you're gonna do problems 1 through 4 on page 352. That is in chapter 15.
Raise the sound. 352.
1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Yep.
Okay.
And now the thing about these, if you run into any trouble, you don't understand what's going on, there should be guidance in the reading that comes before it. So when you're working with these and you get stuck, go back through it. There's even an example problem here that'll help you how to do it.
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
do that, pause this, and then we'll come back.
Okay. So next question here is, how does the tuning fork make a sound?
How's it doing that?
Is it magic? Okay, so go ahead and whack it on there and take a look at it. Can you guys see that? It's kind of blurry, is it not?
Let me use this one. See the ends of the fork? See how blurry they are? Why are they blurry?
Well, it kind of looks like they're...
And now they're not blurry.
Like, don't get too close to it. It looks like they're moving back and forth at a very, very fast frequency. Right?
Yep, 256 times per second.
That is fast, okay? So how does the tuning fork make a sound? Well, it's simply moving back and forth very, very fast.
Is it magic? No, there's no such thing as magic.
Okay. What is causing...
Okay, hold up.
Oh. We're gonna ask something else on that?
Nope.
Is that good?
Yep.
Okay, so let me go back to this over. Okay. So I'm gonna hop over here.
We have a curtain over this window, and Miss Mo is all the way across the room.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and...
Do that again. Whoa.
Okay, what is going on here? Okay, what is causing the curtain to move? Okay.
Miss Moore was over here, and all she did was open the door and cause the curtain to move. How did this motion here by the door get all the way across the room to where the window is?
Okay, so when I open the door like this,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I am pulling or stretching it this way.
It stretches the
Right?
air.
Now, when I close it like this, I don't want to slam it here. When I close it like this, I am now squeezing the air.
So we're getting stretch and squeeze.
Stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze. It's very exciting stuff. But so how is the stretching and the squeezing I'm doing over here resulting in movement over there? Well, let's take a look back at our tone generator. Oh no, did I close everything? Hold on. Oh, I did. Miss Moore touched something. There you go. That's right. Have no fear. Tone generator.
We don't
is
need the
here.
tone generator. We need that
Oh,
sim that
you're right,
showed
you're right.
the.
Have no fear. The sim is here. Even better. Okay, here we are. Okay, here we go. So the question was, how is the curtain over here moving if Miss Moore is moving the door?
There's the door.
Okay, so door is closed. She opens it, she closes it. She opens it, she closes it.
There's an average distance between the air molecules, the particles in the air. And when you squeeze them apart, that squeeze travels across through the air. When you squeeze them together, that squeeze travels across the air.
Now, the particles themselves are not traveling. They're moving, but they're not traveling across. That's the wave. The wave is traveling across. However, the particles are simply being pushed, squeezed, and stretched, and sending that wave across the room.
Yeah, and we saw that with the slinky here. If I pull on this, okay, that stretch goes all the way to the other end, it reflects and come back. If I let go, I send a compression that goes all the way. So the stretch travels through the slinky, the compression travels through the slinky, just like the stretch travels through the air, and the compression travels through the air.
So, how does the tuning fork make a sound? You should be able to, oh, no, not wrong one. Okay, what is causing the curtain to move? You should be able to answer this. It has to do with the squeezing and the stretching of the air molecules, and the wave travels through, the particles move back and forth, oscillating, and that's how it's.
And you get high pressure and low pressure. The squeezing is low pressure.
Oh, not that one, actually.
And the stretching, I beg your pardon, squeezing is high pressure, stretching is low pressure.
Stretching, low pressure, squeezing, high pressure. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that high pressure, low pressure variation that moves it across. Okay. How did the motion of the door get across the room to the window? I think we just talked about this. We said when we open the door, it stretches the
And that
air.
travels across the room.
And then when we close the door, it squeezes it.
And that travels across the room. And it travels across the room via waves.
All right. So small amplitude motion of the door results in small amplitude motion of the window. What does that look like? Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do like some little guys here.
Here, put your hand on the outside of it. Oh, that'll work. Okay, so that's small amplitude. Oh yeah, small amplitude. Now go big. Larger amplitude.
Okay, you gotta get the point, right? Okay, so there is a direct relationship to how far I'm moving the door, the amplitude, and how much the curtain on the window moves.
Yeah.
Okay. Loudness depends upon the amplitude of the sound wave. Okay, so not only does it affect how much the curtain is moving over there, but also there's a relationship there with how loud it is. So more amplitude, more loud.
Yeah, when she was moving the door back and forth just a little bit, she was going like this. And getting that's not much variation in pressure. Little pressure, little pressure, little pressure, little pressure, stretch, little pressure, squeeze. As opposed to big amplitude, where you get larger amplitude, I beg your pardon, larger compression and lower stretching.
Larger compression and large stretching.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, so loudness depends, we just covered that, okay? So how loud has to do with how much amplitude you have. Amplitude is the pressure difference between squeeze and stretch. Ooh, we just kind of talked about that, Mr. Boykin, right? So if we have a low pressure here and a high pressure here, that's what these are pressure gauges.
You got a speaker that's moving back and forth, sending sound waves through this. And it's difficult to visualize a longitudinal wave. So what they're doing is they're showing how the pressure changes. When it's stretched, low pressure. When it's squeezed, high pressure.
Oh, this is great. Again, low pressure, high pressure. And the wave travels, but the particles are just getting squeezed and stretched back and forth.
So amplitude would be the maximum displacement from equilibrium. Equilibrium is when it's quiet and it's just room pressure, atmospheric
yelling.
pressure.
Okay. How does your ear work? What is an eardrum? Okay, so here's your ear. And so, sound travels in through your ear, longitudinal wave coming through, and it hits your eardrum. And an eardrum is, it's kind of like the speaker. It's kind of like the speaker.
It's kind of like the window
Yeah.
with the curtain over it. The curtain moves back and forth in response to changes in pressure of the air.
Yeah, but your eardrum isn't loose on the bottom.
No.
It's all connected, right? As you can see in our lovely example here. Okay, so the eardrum is just like our black tarp over there, like a black tarp there. Now what happens? So the sound comes through here, longitudinal waves, and those pressure variations here. There's some squeezage. There's changes in pressure, right?
It goes back and forth, yeah.
And so from there, I don't know how much anatomy you guys know, but basically it travels through the rest of the ear, through these different chambers.
Well, you've got
and through
these three bones.
Oh, I
It's-
forgot about them. Look at them in there. Okay.
You can
Now
barely
it's
see
like the hammer and the stirrup,
anvil, stirrup, and hammer.
yeah. Okay. So what happens there is the vibrations from the changes in pressure from the eardrum vibrate those three bones. They're
Yeah.
very, very delicate. And then from there, the vibrations travel through and they make their way into the cochlea.
The cochlea. Ouch!
I know, this little guy. And so this is really cool. So your cochlea has these different pathways in it, and they're all connected here. And in the cochlea, there are different
Little hairs.
the little hairs, and those hairs are what sense the frequency.
Yeah, and you have it gets wide and then narrow.
So I think it's high frequency and then low frequency and then higher frequency in the middle, or something like that.
And what happens is the hairs vibrate back and forth in sympathy to the pressure differences in the fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's high amplitude sound for very
Mm-hmm.
long, sometimes those hairs will break.
And do they ever grow back?
Never.
They do not.
You
and
become
so
what?
what did you say?
Like old people whose hearings have gone.
Yeah, so sound comes in. We have movement of the eardrum based off of the pressure differences, and it sends those pressure differences, the squeezing and the pulling, the squeezing and the stretching, through these bones, through the vibrations. They vibrate through here, into the cochlea, and then in there, your little hairs in there, they can sense that frequency. Totally groovy.
Send it up to your brain, and we interpret that as sound.
The eardrum is just like our black, tarpy, plasticky, blankety thing over there. Okay, and so for tonight, for your homework, so we're in chapter 15. Finish up numbers 1 through 4 if you took a break on those. Hopefully you didn't. And then you're just gonna read page 350 through 354.
Boom.